Welcome back to the channel. My name is Stephen Nguyen. I'm a pharmacist and I own 52 units of real estate. Today I want to do a breakdown of how much my mortgage is and how much that is relative to my gross income as well as my take-home income, just to give you perspective. So at a high level, my total monthly cost, including my mortgage, keep in mind I did 5% down. So I have PMI. This includes property tax, insurance, utilities, HOA. I'm all in roughly for about $7,500 a month for my property, my primary residence, and I split this with me and my fiance. So I'm going to include both of our incomes. So first, I want to do a breakdown of the gross income. So as a pharmacist, our W-2 salary, I make 260K, and my fiance makes 180K. So collectively, we make roughly 440K, which is I think roughly around 36K a month for simplicity. And if you factor in my real estate portfolio, so I own 52 units of real estate, and my fiance actually owns one property as well, a single family home in California. And between my 52 units and her one unit, that's 53 units. That's about 50K a month, right? So our total is roughly $86,000 a month gross. And if you factor in our monthly cost of $7,500, that's roughly about 8 to 9% of our gross income, right? And for take home, this is the more important metric, to be honest, because it's not how much you gross, it's how much you take home. So as two pharmacists, roughly we take home 20K a month. In real estate, we take home collectively 10K a month, which my portfolio is mostly carrying that load. So roughly it's about 30K a month. And if you factor in $7,500 divided by 30K, that's about 25% of the take home. So the sweet spot for your primary residence, for your living expenses, for just housing, it's roughly between 25 to 35%. I know it's much harder in California where rents are a little bit higher. And, I know a lot of people hover around 50 to 60%. So this is why I kind of want to share this metric, is because yes, it's expensive to live in California. Yes, before my rent was $2,000 a month, which is very little relative to our take home and our gross income. So that's basically financial freedom, right? But just to give a big global picture, just know that while $700 a month is expensive relative to our gross income, it's 8 to 9% of our gross income and 25% of our take home income, right? So obviously, if I were to just rent and not do, have a home for me to live in, my relative percentage relative to our take home, it's very little, right? But this is what I mean by you have to look at percentages. So it's all relative to your percentage. The sweet spot is 25 to 35%. So like once I kind of broke down the numbers, it did make sense for me to go into primary residence. Albeit, yes, we are tied to our pharmacist jobs, right? Like if I were to just rent for $2,000 a month, it maybe my fiance could go part time, maybe I can go part time, right? And we can still have that 25% margin. But we both don't mind working right now. My fiance has no interest in side hustles, business, real estate. But for me, I am working on my real estate broker license. I'm working on my coaching and mentorship program. So I'm building these up, right? And once those start to scale up, and this is not even factoring that income I'm making right now, right? But once it starts to scale up, that's when maybe I can scale back as a pharmacist and then consider, going down to part-time and going down to, full-time in a side business or real estate, right? So this is why I continue to work as a pharmacist still. But I just wanted to give some context as to, why we decide to rent, why we decide to do 5% down. And, kind of end game for me is ideally I want to pay off my rental, my primary residence, which is at a 6.5% interest rate. So once I do that, it will lower my expense significantly from $700 a month up until, if you just include property tax, HOA, utilities, it's roughly $2,000 a month. So it's kind of ironic. I was renting for $2,000 a month, bought this house, which increased my expenses almost like threefold. Then once it's paid off, then I go back down to what the rent was, right? So for me, I have a lot of single family homes with a lot of equity. I'm considering selling one of them in the future, maybe when I don't want to work anymore. Use that equity to pay off my primary residence, live in this free and clear, lower my expense significantly, $2,000 a month, And at that point, my cash flow definitely will cover my $2,000 a month. And at that point, it improves me. So even right now, right, I'm paying $700 a month. Just the cash flow from my 52 units is about 10K a month. So that does cover itself. But if I have a major expense, then that's when you kind of get hit, and that's when you kind of lose. So right now, don't mind having high expenses while I'm working W-2, but as I have a W-2 or start to wean down my W-2, then I'm gonna start to pay off my expenses, right? So the wealth equation is how much income you make as well as how much your expenses are. But for the income, it's unlimited in a sense, right? For expenses, it's more within your control in terms of like how much you can have. But basic living expenses in California, at minimum, you're gonna be at least $2,000 to $3,000 a month. That's on the lower end, right? Whether you're renting or you have a paid off house. So that's just kind of the strategy that I've been thinking about, that I've been contemplating. So it's really helpful to do the breakdown of my gross income, my take home income, and I hope to increase my gross income. I hope to increase my take home income while simultaneously reducing my expenses. And that at that point, you have a lot of options, right? Like that's the true way to financial freedom. That's a true way to wealth. I know a lot of people, they focus on scaling their income, but they don't focus on lowering their expenses. And the biggest expense is your living expense. So whether you're renting or whether you have a paid off primary residence, that's how you lower your expenses significantly, right? On top of that, I'm trying to maximize my life insurance policies. And once that's done, then it helps it make it easier for myself. So let me know if any comments or questions down below. Let me know if any questions. Please like, comment, subscribe. Hopefully this kind of give you perspective as to how my primary residence relates to my gross income and my take home income. That's the key margin, right? Like a lot of people, especially in California, they buy more house than they can afford, where they're spending 50, 60, 70% of their income. And I know some pharmacists, they are literally have such an expensive house that's like 1.5 to $2 million, and they literally have to work two pharmacist jobs for just one person, right? So I know a couple where one pharmacist, he works two full-time jobs, and then on top of that, his wife is a pharmacist. And despite that, they struggle just to pay the bills, right? Because they have a $2 million house, their mortgage is too high, and they're locked in, right? Like at that point, you're a slave to your job. But for us, yes, we still are tied to our job, but it's still only 20% of our income. So, like I said, when I want to step away from my W-2, I just can sell an asset, lower my expense, and then write off, or I can be financially free and leave my W-2 job if I want to, right? So, hopefully, this gave you perspective. Please share this video with somebody. If you're interested in joining my mentorship program, check out the link down below. Hope to see you next one. Thank you so much.